I'm John Paul Flame, joined by Eric Bickle, Johnny Cake Sawville, and Jason Bishop. Joining us right now, like he does every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, it's our pal Mike Rizzo, President GM of the Nationals, presented by Main Street Bank. Cheer local, bank local. Put their team in your office. Visit mstreetbank.com for more information. Hey, Mike.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hello,
We're good.
Mike. We're getting all geeked up to head over. First questions first before we ask about
And
the
we're
team
all
and
going to
stuff.
wear Caps jerseys in your suite.
We're wearing Caps jerseys for our bit here on Monumental today. The official debut of Monument Network. I guess I'm wearing a Wizards jacket.
You are wearing a Nats hat.
Yeah. What time, Mike, should we come over? Jason says you like to show up to your box like 1 minute before the game.
Yeah, if you guys come, let me know when you get there. I usually get there probably about, it depends if I'm hungry or not, between 30 or 45 minutes before the game, and
you do?
depending on what we're trying to do. But, we could just arrange anything you want.
All right. We just don't want to be in the way.
Start.
We just don't want to be in the way. That's all.
No, you guys won't be in the way. If you're in the way, we'll tell you you're in the way, and you'll scoot out of the way.
Yeah,
But
we will
everybody
get
else,
out of the
it'll be
way
good.
without a doubt.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So maybe I'm thinking, just so he knows, I'm thinking it's a 1 o'clock start, right? I'm thinking if we show up around 12:30-ish, that should be a reasonable time where it's like normal.
I think that works.
That sound normal, Mike?
Yes, that sounds fine. That's perfect for me. Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
All right. Perfect.
Hey, Mike. Our man James Wood was named Minor League Player of the Week in the Eastern League for the second time this season. Just looking at his numbers for Harrisonburg, he hits, for the last 7 days, he was 7 for 13, hit 540 with a bomb, and is
At what level is this now?
this is double A,
Double A.
Harrisburg.
Okay.
Yeah. And they played a 5-game series with the Bay Sox. He just raked it against the Bay Sox. So that's pretty cool for the year. 26 bombs, 91 RBIs in 129 games for
I don't think you could ask for much better.
for J-Dub.
No, he played the majority of that in Double A at 20 years old. I think he had 18 of them in Double A, and the rest of them in Wilmington was a tough ballpark to hit in. You're absolutely right. You can't ask for anything more than him. He's done everything we asked him to do. We recognize the strikeout numbers are a little elevated at the Double A level, but I think that all in all, defensively, base running wise, the IQ of the game, the speed of the game, and obviously the offensive quotient of it, he's been terrific. So he's one of the biggest prospects in the game, and the guy's going to impact the big league club. He's a terrific player.
All right, I have two questions. The first question is, what is the strikeout ratio that he has, and what is kind of the threshold for you guys? I mean, I guess a low number is always great, but, what is kind of the threshold where it's probably a little bit too much? And then my second question just is a general question, Mike, which is, what level is the toughest leap? Is it from single A to double A? I know you have different levels within those. Is it just triple A to the big leagues? What's the toughest leap for these kids to make?
To the big leagues, at whatever level you're at, is the biggest jump. It's there's no higher league than that. It's an incredibly difficult game to play at the big league level. These guys have all succeeded at somewhere in their career, and it's a big league. You see guys hitting 350, 360 at AAA and come to the big leagues and struggle for an extended period of time. So it's a different game. Everybody's a monster. Everyone's the best at what they do, and it's just getting to the big leagues is a terrific accomplishment. It's an unbelievable accomplishment. I think 23,000 players in the history of baseball have been to the big leagues. But staying in the big leagues for an extended period of time is even harder than getting to the big leagues. And that's what I tell each guy when they come to the clubhouse for the first time. Congratulations, you made it to the big leagues. Now the difficult part begins, staying in the big leagues for an extended period of time and succeeding in the big leagues, because it's a league of adjustments. Doesn't matter how much skill you have, how much power you have, how hard you throw. These players will adjust, and you will have to adjust to their adjustments to succeed long term. And I think that's a huge portion of the learning curve for these young players.
Just to give you a little frame of reference, he's striking out about 1 out of every 3 at-bats.
All right, so what is it?
He's got 175
I mean, obviously
for
the lowest the better, but like when is it a threshold where you're like, it's probably a little high?
Well, if we'll do a deep dive on all of our minor league players, but there's certain characteristics that we look at. Are you striking out on chasing pitches outside the strike zone? Are you missing pitches in the strike zone? Those are all different questions that we ask, and we look at video and that type of thing. And to me, you can live with a high 20s strikeout rate if you're hitting, if you're a power hitter and hitting a lot of home runs. If you're hitting 30 home runs, we can accept 28% strikeout rate. But if you're supposedly a contact speed hitter and you're striking out 25, 20%, 27% of the time, that's not unacceptable. So depending on the profile of the player, what his skill set is, and what his other tools bring to the table.
Mike, what's it like for prospects when I'm sure they have friends that are, picks in the NFL, NBA that go high, and they go immediately to those highest levels and they start immediately. And then like James Wood or, other guys who are drafted into the Nats organization, they have to start at the lowest levels and just keep working their way up. What's that challenge like for those guys as a whole, where it's not straight to the big leagues? You got to pay your dues and succeed at the lower levels before you get the call up to the show.
Yeah, I think it shows the difficulties of succeeding in the game. I think they realize that when they choose that route in their athletic careers and that type of thing. And on the flip side of that is, the average major league career is much longer than the average NFL career, and probably much less painful. So I think that
that's for sure.
There's a trade-off that these super athletes have to think about when they pick the sport that they go into. But when you talk about super athletes like a Deion Sanders, I've heard him say in interview after interview. Now this guy played 9 years, I think, in the big leagues, and 14 years in the NFL, and was a track guy in college, and he can do it all. And when asked what's the most difficult thing in sports, he said hitting a baseball. So that comes from an elite guy that could do just about anything. So it's a difficult process, and it's a painstaking process that has its ups and downs, and you have to really have the mental capacity along with the physical capabilities to really succeed in the game, because it's a sport where you succeed only 30% of the time, and then you're a hell of a player when you do that 30% of the time. So it's a different world, and it's never been more difficult, in my opinion, to be a good big league player because of the velocities and the pitch shapes and all the high tech equipment that we're employing to implementing to use to get better. So these young players, they have a real challenge, and to be under the microscope that these guys are under as minor leaguers and as prospects, I've never seen it before. It's really exploded in the last 2 or 3 years with social media. Is that James Wood is a celebrity, whereas 10 years ago you'd be reading about him only once a month in like Baseball America magazine. So it's the landscape has really changed for those players.
All right, so talk about Jackson Rutledge. He was much better yesterday than his debut. I guess
and he didn't get hit in the head.
Not unexpected, right? Probably a little bit calmer on your second start, maybe a little bit more comfortable. It is wild how a guy could go out there, it kind of really only lasts 3 innings, struggle, you're kind of questioning, and then he comes out there and pitches so much better in the second go-around.
Well, that's the mark of a young pitcher in the big leagues. Like we talked about, making that step is, he pitched in Pittsburgh on I think 12 days rest because we skipped him a start in AAA before we brought him here, and didn't go through his routine and was probably A, too amped up, and B, with that extended rest, probably didn't get his routine in and that type of thing. So I expected him to do much better in this outing. He's on his regular routine and feels more comfortable in the surroundings in the clubhouse and that type of thing. So, he kind of got back to what he's been throughout, this season in AA and AAA. He pounded the bottom of the strike zone. He's got 3 pitches. He throws a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer, and a couple of different shaped breaking balls and a changeup. So, he comes at you with 3 or 4 pitches. He was throwing strikes. 1 walk to me was the key to his whole success. And as Max Scherzer proved and said many times, solo homers we can absorb and still win games. It's when you put guys on base in front of those home runs that kill you. So when you give up a home run to a Roberts who I think he's got 37 of them, and Makata, those are 2 big bats, get paid a lot of money to hit home runs, and really the only 2 really hanging bad pitches in the strike zone that he threw, and he paid for both of them, and I really admired the stick-to-itiveness and really the pounding the strike zone that he went through, and the next step for him is being consistent. Getting ahead of more first pitch strike percentage and strike percentage, and getting ahead of hitters and that type of thing. And I think it goes to show, that he threw, I believe, 74 pitches last night, and pitched into the 7th inning. So I think he had a good outing. It was a good stepping stone for the next outing or 2 that he has here at the end of this year and going into spring training.
All right, so I've asked you about Lane Thomas a bunch this year. Now, his numbers have tailed off a little bit in the month of June, but overall his numbers really good. Hitting 270, 25 dingers, 80 RBIs. He was hitting leadoff for a while until CJ took over that. Now he's hitting 2-hole, playing right field. Really good athlete, I think. Good base runner, in my opinion. I don't know what the analytics are, but he seems like he's a good base runner, good arm. When you made the trade for Lane Thomas back in 21, Mike, for when you sent John Lester to St. Louis, are these the numbers that your scouts kind of projected, or are these numbers surprising to you?
I wouldn't say they're surprising. I think they're encouraging. What we saw in Lane Thomas at the trade deadlines, we saw a guy that we thought we had a really good feeling that he was going to be a good big league player. Now, does that mean he's going to be a good 4th outfielder or a good platoon guy? We knew he could hit left-handed pitching very, very well. And during that time of his career, struggled against right-handers. We worked diligently when we got him against right-handed pitching, and he's shown a propensity to really improve and adapt and follow instructions and that type of thing. And that's, I think, the biggest leap that he's made this year as far as an offensive contributor is, he's dominates left-handers, and he's really improved against right-handers, and went from a guy that we thought was maybe a 4th outfielder or maybe a platoon guy to an everyday guy that's it's going to get it's going to be a 3-WAR type of player, and a guy that really contributed to us this year is I think is going to contribute to us down the road. And when you say he's a good athlete, he really is. He's in the upper percentile in running speed and throwing arm, and I think he's thrown out as many base runners from right field as any outfielder in the league, and 25 home runs. He has taken a little dip recently, but he had that little back issue a couple of weeks back, so he's kind of grinding through that. But it's been a hell of a year for him. He's really put himself on the map, and he's a guy that we think can grow with us and really help us down the road also.
Does he still own that cabinet business in Knoxville?
I believe he does. Yes, I believe he does with his family. Yes.
Yeah, he's got a cabinet business.
Crazy.
And with his sister and I guess his family.
Yeah, he's a woodworker.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's hitting 330 against lefties. I didn't realize it was that big a number.
Yeah, he's
killing lefties
throughout his career. That was his thing, and we had to get him back in against right-handers to because obviously 75-80% of the starting pitchers are right-handed, so we had to get him back on track with that, and Darnell's done a nice job with him to get his contact rate and his power rate up and going against right-handed pitching, and I think you're going to see him take another leap defensively. He's really figuring out routes and angles in the outfield and right field. He's really comfortable. He throws as good or better than anybody in the league. He's a really good. You said it right. He's a good base runner, and I think he'll be a better base stealer down the road. He's a guy who should steal. With the new rules, he should steal 25 to 30 bases because he has that 95 percentile speed and good all around player that we think is can help us impact the game. And he's taking a leadership role in the clubhouse. And he's a great guy, and he makes good cabinets, I guess. So
I guess he
he's all
does.
good.
That's funny. What's his contract situation?
We control for 2 years. He's arbitration eligible, obviously,
Okay.
and we have 2 more years of control with him.
Got you.
All right, Mike.
We'll see you in a little bit.
See
We're
you in a few
excited.
hours.
Get over there. What kind of food?
All right, guys.
What kind of food do you normally have over there, Mike?
It changes daily, so we'll see. And if you have any requests, text them over, and we can make it happen.
Ooh, all right, lobster, Valdez. Get on that.
I knew he was going to go to lobster.
All right, thank you, Mike. We'll see you in a little bit.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right,
Thanks.
buddy.
That's Mike Rizzo, President General Manager of the Washington Nationals. He's presented by Main Street Bank. Cheer local, bank local. Put their team in your office. Visit mstreetbank.com for more information.